This is the Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Good morning.
On the podcast today, 2 words, serial killers. Not actual serial killers, just people talking about them. So we're going to catch up with clinical psychologist Dr. Rachel Toles, who basically does a stage show that she's bringing to Perth that's about the psychology of serial killers.
And she knows them really well.
It's unbelievably interesting. You're going to love every single bit of it. We're going to catch up with Casey Donovan too. She's in town for a musical.
We'll talk sport with Kath Lochnan. That's always a bit of fun.
And swimming pools, sneaking into someone else's swimming pool, and it's caught on CCTV.
Yeah, but what about animals that have dug a hole?
Oh, yeah.
Pretty good.
That sounds boring, but it was actually really good call.
Way more interesting than you think it's going to be.
This is Nathan, Nat and Sean. Let's go! On Nova 937.
It's 6:05, Nathan and Sean. We got Ross stepping in for Nathan, and day 2 all the way from his Bali ballroom. Sean McManus.
Nothing's changed. You got the chandeliers behind me. I'm all set to go for a dance off, perhaps.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. So how are the staff treating you? Because this would be the first time that this hotel has had a radio show coming live from one of their conference rooms.
Somebody just delivered him all his papers he needed for the show. Hand-delivered it to him. Printed, hand-delivered.
They are so helpful. It's unbelievable in every sense. Yeah, we've got 2 producers in our team, and
Yes.
I feel like I've got 4 over here. At any stage when I ask a question, they've got the answer, and they're getting the work done.
Do you think there are Bali resort designers now going, oh, we need to put a radio studio in? I mean, this is what we need to encourage, really, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. They've been great this morning. I did have to wake I forget his name, but I had to wake the guy up again. He was back in that behind the false wall.
He's just trying
on
to
the
get
floor.
a good night's sleep, and you're just
He is.
rocking up and bloody waking him up at 5 a.m. every day.
Sure.
I hope you're going to tip him.
It's so funny. No, he's been great so far. Yes, I will, Nat. I'll throw him some money for sure.
I don't believe you. We'll probably catch up a little bit later, but just give us the headline. What did you get up to in Bali yesterday?
Okay, yesterday the kids went to Waterbomb Park, but Megan and I went on an adventure up to Canggu to check out the fashion and the restaurants.
Were you the oldest people there?
Yeah, most definitely. I will say though, I said to you this morning that it wasn't the greatest sleep of all time. There's a restaurant next to us called Mozzarella, and they normally have entertainment, but I wouldn't have thought on a Monday night they did. But they had this band that was singing AC/DC songs,
Great.
and it felt like it was out just out the front of my room, and that went to 11.
That's restful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
AC/DC.
that went to 11:30.
Not a relaxing band, is it?
On a Monday
No.
night. I mean, I
No.
guess it doesn't matter in Bali, but still. I guess this is the problem with having a radio studio. You also need a soundproof room for you to sleep in.
Oh, the other
Get 'em
thing
onto
to that. Yeah, the other thing is I got woke up about 1 because I could hear these people. I thought they were having a fight. They were young. There's a lot of yelling and screaming going on. So I got up and went close to the door, and it was these people who were in the pool playing Marco Polo.
Fun. That's fun. like highly competitively by the sounds of it.
It was so full on. It was unbelievable.
Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
You missed it earlier this morning. Sean was telling us about a crime being committed at the hotel, Sean, while you were trying to sleep this morning.
Yeah, it was about 1 a.m, and I thought people were having an argument. They were fighting for quite some time. So I went to the door to put my head out the window to see what was going on. And it was about 4 people playing Marco Polo in the pool.
Very enthusiastically. It's a highly competitive Marco Polo.
It was full on.
I know, at 1 a.m.
Oh, man.
I suspect that, maybe some cocktails were involved in that
I would have thought so.
decision making. Not the only pool-based crime, though, as it turns out, Ross.
Yeah, check this out. This story yesterday.
A quick peek before popping into the pool. But this is no regular post-workout dip. This is not this man's house, nor his pool. But he's certainly treating it like it is, making himself at home in Holly Stevens' backyard at least 5 times since January.
Vision hilarious, Shawnee.
And as you can tell by the way that guy said pool, this is happening in Queensland. That's a dead giveaway, isn't it? Imagine that, Sean.
Yeah, well, he's a young guy who keeps jumping into their pool all the time. They catch caught him out a couple of times now on CCTV, but they don't know who he is just yet. The police are investigating. This is so funny.
And he does it on like long weekends and holidays and things like that when the owners are away.
And if you see the vision, which a lot of people have, he like looks in the window to see if they're home before he does his big stretches in the pool. This is actually what the owner of the house, after she saw the CCTV footage, said.
It just feels a little bit entitled. He's like sweaty, has sneakers on and is running. And then he's stretching in the pool after a run, which is honestly very gross.
And as somebody who has to watch Sean McManus stretch every day, I can attest it is gross. It's revolting. And if it was happening in your pool by a stranger, you wouldn't be happy. Sean, you've got a pool. And I've just realised now that when we know you're away, I might pop around to your pool because you're in the hood and I don't have a pool. So that's fine, right?
No, I'd be absolutely fine with it because, you know, I used to do this to my cousin lived behind Gary Shannon, the radio champion himself. Yes. I'm not joking. And I've told Gary this story 100 times, but he had this green Porsche in the driveway. So we were amazed. We would jump over the fence and check out this lime green Porsche. But in the event that he wasn't home, we'd always jump in his pool in summer. Always. He lived in Bateman, and we jump in his pool. And
you obviously never got caught. What did he say when you finally told him?
Oh, I think he said, I've seen you guys. I believe you have been in the pool, and no one got out to have a wee. So that was the biggest problem.
And was that accurate?
I reckon it might have been.
Okay, jump in a stranger's pool today. See if it's fun.
For it.
Sounds great.
This is the Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
Shorty Mac, can you explain what you're smashing in your mouth right now live in Bali?
Live in Bali, I'm eating mee goreng, Nat.
You really are, too. You're destroying it.
I went down to get an orange juice and I thought, the buffet's open, I'll have a look. And there wasn't enough time to get scrambled eggs and make some toast. So mee goreng it is this morning.
Yeah, and you when you put that in your mouth, you put a lot in, don't you?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Sam, our digital guy, filmed all of that, and I'm sure it will make our socials very shortly.
And now he's having some juice. You just live your best life. We're still on air, you know that, right? Sean is coming home from Bali today, aren't you? Aren't you?
Yes, I am, yep. I'll be out of here with Jetstar about 11:40, I believe.
Good luck.
Are you? Super plug.
This is the Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
It's time for Pet Tales. Nathan, Nat and Sean are positively perfect. And petcircle.com.au hand delivers the next day. Local warehouse, local delivery drivers helping you pet better.
Thanks to the great people at Pet Circle, where your pet gets the best of everything. We're playing Pet Tales right now, giving you the chance to win $1,000 cash. The category today is...
Dale dug a hole.
Well, not Dale specifically.
I now want to get a dog and call it Dale's, just so I can say that.
It would make sense, wouldn't it?
Oh, first up is Liz from Yangebup. Good morning, Liz.
Good morning.
Morning.
All right, talk to us about the pet that dug a hole.
We had a murderous bunny.
Murderous?
A bunny with murder on her mind.
How so?
Because we had one bunny, her name was Rabby Rabster.
Cute.
And then we had a guinea pig as well, I can't remember his name. But she would dig her burrows. They had like an area that they lived in. And she would dig her burrows, and at the end of the day when we put them in the hutch, we had to go and rescue the guinea pig because he'd follow her into the burrow and she would bury him in there.
She's been trying to get him every time, conniving.
She did it for months, and, sometimes there'd be 2 burrows, sometimes there'd be 3 burrows. And one night we just could not find him. We were like, shit, has he gotten out? Like, what's happened to him?
Yeah.
And we found him.
He's been buried alive.
The thing is,
He's been buried alive.
not only is he getting buried alive, the owner doesn't even know the name. You don't know its name. You can't remember the poor guy.
That was like 20 odd years ago.
Call it out.
You remember the bunny's name? The bunny's the main character, that's for sure. All right, Liz, you hang there. Thank you. We're going to move on to Candace in Piara Waters. Good morning, Candace.
Morning.
Good morning, guys.
You're our P Ward of the day, Candace. Okay, talk to us about who dug a hole.
So over here in Pewart, we moved into about 5 years ago and, chucked the dog out the back, as you do, install a doggy door. The kids come in one afternoon yelling that there's a body in the backyard. And what do you mean? In the garden, there's a body. Buzz and I have kind of looked at each other like, what are you talking about? We go out there and the dog has dug, it's sort of a raised up retaining wall garden bed.
Yeah.
And it's dug in there and you can just see a skeleton. Bones, but hadn't dug the whole thing, so you can just sort of see the top of a frame of a skeleton and bones sort of sticking out.
Yes.
And I looked at my husband, he kind of looked at me and we're thinking, this thing is long enough for a body, like it goes along the back wall, and we took a photo and sent it to a nurse friend, and I just sort of said, what am I looking at? Like, what is this?
Yes.
And she said, dig around it. And I was like, oh, no, I don't think so. And she said, it looks more like an animal. And I sort of said, oh, okay. So we dug around it. And, the previous people had buried their Jack Russell in the retaining wall, but not overly deep. It was... and my husband's job was then... But the dog was inquisitive and, just thought she'd found a bone. And, it was a bit worrying.
Well,
so
she did.
I wonder what else is out there, really.
She found many bones.
Cannabis bone.
Cemetery.
Oh, yeah, the old pet cemetery in the backyard. Nothing quite like it, is it, when you discover that in the new house?
Oh, no.
Terrifying.
Oh, all right, Candice, you hang there. Our third caller is Brendan from Mindarie. Good morning, Brendan.
Good morning. How you doing?
Morning,
All right,
Brendan.
Brendan, we're hearing tales of animals that have dug a hole. What happened?
I got a phone call many years ago to go to a funeral in the UK. And so I went, and I got a phone call from the girlfriend when I was away saying the dog had dug a hole, ripped all the retic out through this one hole.
Through the hole. So it dug down, found a bit of the retic and then pulled it all out?
Yep, and the only problem is it's half an acre of back garden, and every piece of retic that was in that garden came out through that one hole.
What is it? That's quite
She showed me photos. The little sprinkler things were inside of his poop.
Oh, you hate that.
She had to take him to the vet because one of the bits that springs up was stuck in his back door.
No.
Oh, what?
You don't want a dog with a spring-loaded butt. That's bad.
And I'm sure you're worried about the dog, but were you worried about your grass as well, Brendan? I'm sure you prided yourself on that. You got retic.
Well, we were renting at the time, so we were worried about the bloody grass, but it was more the fact the dog had swallowed a lot of plastic and was crapping at plastic.
Yeah.
So we've got a few issues here. This becomes expensive because you've got the vet bill, you have to replace the retic, and you've got to save the lawn.
Yeah, and I was looking at the dog going, if I had a gun...
you wouldn't do that.
Do it.
No, you wouldn't do it. But because we love our dogs. Brendan, that's a terrible story. But, I mean, the dog is very efficient. It just dug one hole and got all the retic out through that. That's good going.
All right, one of those are going to win $1,000.
Yeah.
Murderous bunny, digging up a potential skeleton, not a human, a Jack Russell.
Or all the retic being pulled out through one hole.
Shawnee? Oh, just voting here.
We split again?
I think
Nat's
so.
the deciding vote.
Yeah, all right. I'm going to go as well.
Yep.
The story started with a bunny by the name of Big Wee Wee. So we thought, Liz, we might give it to you because of your murderous bunny's intents, okay? Liz, $1,000 from our friends at Pet Circle.
Rabby Rabster for being a murderer.
Rabby Rabster. By the great naming. On that, I think probably if we think about it, the guinea pig was probably called Guinea Ginster or something like that.
Probably.
We don't remember.
My ex-husband named them, so he's really good at that.
Is he? All right, we'll have another $1,000 on the line tomorrow.
Nathan, Nat, and Sean podcast.
We're excited by this guest. Now, the psychology of serial killers and why they captivate us is coming to Australia. Thursday, May 29, playing the Astor Theatre. You can get your tickets now from tegdainty.com. The host is Dr. Rachel Toles, who joins us now from South Carolina. She is an expert in serial killers, and we're here for it. Hello, Rachel.
Morning.
Hello. Hi. I'm actually right now in Indianapolis, Indiana, because I'm on my second U.S. tour, the psychology of murderers, was talking about the everyman versus the serial killer. So, but I'm not in South Carolina at this moment.
Okay, great.
But hi, nice to meet everyone.
Yeah, you too. Now, we are all on board. Like, I love nothing more than listening to a true crime podcast, and it does seem to be a bit of an affliction for middle-aged white women that we really do get into this stuff, don't we? That, like, statistically, that's true.
Statistically, yes. I mean, I've always said, certainly for the last year, I've been known to say that, women love true crime the way men love pornography. I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, men love to talk about sex. Women love to talk about murder. That's because, while men spend their lives scanning for sexual conquest, us women spend our lives scanning to avoid getting murdered.
Sean, over to you.
True. And so,
wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Hey, on that, Dr. Toles, you just mentioned a lot of the people that we see are men who are serial killers. Is there many women over that we know?
Great question. So I'll give you some stats. Okay. One of the stats, just to know, fun stats that a lot of people who aren't American love, and again, Americans love to be number one, but so they're okay with this sometimes. But 65% of all serial killers come from the U.S., and the second highest percentage for country, like the country with the second highest most, is England, and they come in at 3.4%. So that just gives you an idea of how many serial killers are in the U.S. It's just so I've got a chart, so when whoever comes to the show, they're going to get to see the full chart from the serial killer database of all the different countries.
But why?
And that's a significant. I'm not going to tell you where Australia is.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's very significant. So when it comes to males and females, there are stats. So about 92 to 93% of all serial killers are males, and then so that makes about 7% female. However, of that 7%, over 1/3 of them have a male accomplice.
Right. Okay.
So that tells you it's very rare. And so when women kill, they're very practical about it typically. They want to get the job done. The only time, for the most part, that women are ever sadistic in their kills is if they have a male accomplice, because they know that it gets him off, because the sadism comes in when it's the male killer, unless, it's a wife that you've really done her wrong and she's going to, maybe torture you a bit. But otherwise, typically, the sadism is left out with females.
All right, you really know yourself. Wow. Dr. Toles, just on that, what contributes to the making of a serial killer? And maybe mention what's happening in the US that's putting that percentage so high.
Oh, my gosh. Well, the great question. So I've come to find, as I'm going to really at length get into in the show, that there are 9 cumulative factors that always make a serial killer, and not in any particular order. And I go through those factors. And the U.S., I think that first of all, when I get into those 9 factors, I'm going to also be talking about culture. And if you think about cultural things, I mean, the U.S. has a fetishization when it comes to the individual, big time, the American hero. And what it means is very black and white thinking. And then you've got the fetishization of guns, which as a Canadian, I would love if they just, I know you can never get American. You'll never be able to take away their guns. But the number one weapon of choice of serial killers is a handgun. A lot of people think it's strangulation. It's actually a handgun.
Yeah. So the ease, the ease of a weapon and being able to procure that makes it easier.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's those 2 factors.
Yes.
But it's a lot of black and white thinking, and just if you're not the best, then you're the worst. And so now we, of course, are seeing way more mass shooting. Yes. And so the idea of these kids that are coming with these guns, they're like, I got to be somebody special, and I'm going to have to go out with a bang, then at least I'll be someone special.
Yeah.
And it's like we've got to talk about what that psychology is.
For sure.
Most definitely. Dr. Toles, you'd be aware that Perth had a serial killer that's now in jail. And I'm interested, and this happens a lot with serial killers, in that when they've taken the lives of a lot of people, they don't necessarily admit to every crime. And even if they're in jail, even if they're in jail and they're on death row or stuff, they seem to take information to their grave, and it doesn't help, the families that want to know what happened to their loved ones. Why is that?
That's right. It always depends on the killer. And so, for example, Jeffrey Dahmer, the minute that he was caught, was incredibly transparent about all of his kills. If it hadn't been for his transparency, and he was pretty much right off the bat, they didn't have to get it out of him. He's like, look, I did all these things, and had he not been so transparent, more than half of the 17 men that he killed no one would have ever known what happened to them. He was like, oh, yeah, there's the one out in 1978. So that's a rarity, but some of them start to kind of even you'll take the other extreme where they go overboard, but they start kind of like it's like the Boston Strangler, for example, someone that right now they're trying to figure out, did he actually kill all 13 women that he said he killed, or is he taking credit? Because a lot of them, once they become a serial killer, they want the higher numbers. Then to your question, why is it that they withhold? Sometimes it's just for that last bit of, I have the power, and I'm not going to give it up because I'm, and some of it is, there might be some shame, believe it or not, to admitting these things. It just depends, because these people actually have feelings too. A lot of people think they've just got these dead shark eyes and they have no feelings. They absolutely have feelings. They just are better at compartmentalizing really severe things. All humans can compartmentalize, but the way, obviously, if you kill someone, typically you're going to be feeling. Most people feel a certain way about it, and if they've done it, it's like go off to war, even though that's very different. When the soldiers come back from war, they've had to compartmentalize their feelings about it. And so it's complicated, but I think we're very good at thinking that people who murder suddenly are feelingless monsters. And I believe it or not, I point out the ways in which they're actually human. It doesn't excuse the crime, but I really examine the why and the how did they get there, because that to me is our best shot at preventing these things.
We were talking about this earlier, Rachel, about who out of us would be most likely to be a serial killer, because and the thing about a good one, and Ted Bundy is probably a really good example of this. Very charming. People that knew him well never suspected, and they use their charm and their good looks to get by. So we think it's probably Ross, because he's a very nice person. Whereas Sean and I, we've got we show our dark hearts. We're not hiding it. So is it the ones that aren't? You don't necessarily get a creepy vibe from a serial killer, do you?
The Rosses of the world.
Well, see, this is the other thing. So I think Hollywood has done a really good job of painting, the American Psycho and even Hannibal Lecter, these evil geniuses, and most of them, I think their IQs, the average IQ of a serial killer is about 90, 91. Like, it's not super high, but you've got the odd ones that are really smart. I mean, Ted Bundy, great example. I think his IQ was like 130 something, so he was pretty high up there. Jeffrey Dahmer was 145. So you have some that are higher up there, but for the most part, I think what's interesting about what happened with Ted Bundy, and I think this is what freaked everybody out, is that before Ted Bundy happened, serial killers were really viewed more like Ed Gein, who is the butcher of Plainfield, who Norman Bates from Psycho was based on him, along with Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and of course Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs. They're all based on this one man named Ed Gein, the butcher of Plainfield, or there's a guy named Jerry Brudos, who's the shoe fetish slayer. And these are guys who, before Ted Bundy came on, people just assumed they're kind of ghoulish, they're kind of creepy, and all that kind of stuff. But then Ted Bundy came along, and he changed the whole world of serial killing. And then, of course, John Gacy, too. John Wayne Gacy's another one, because both of those guys came along. And John Gacy, while he's known as the killer clown, he was this pillar of his community. Everybody thought he was the nicest guy. And Ted Bundy was, he was having plenty of sex with women, and he was able to, it's not like he was upset that he couldn't get it. He was able, women were kind of throwing themselves at him, but he still had the urge to kill. And yet he had this other side of him that was perfectly reasonable, able to become a lawyer, just all the things. They were able to blend. And I think that's what really freaks people out the most, is that it's the ones that are able to blend. But again, if you listen to your body, because I know somebody whose mother went on a date with Ted Bundy, and she just talked about like the fact that she knew something was off. Wow. And she listened to her body, and she got the heck out of there. And had she not, so I always tell, I go on about this in the show, but just like what you can do if you think you might be on a date with a serial killer, how to keep yourself safe. I try to give those tips as well.
This is good to know, good stuff to know. It's worth coming to your show for that alone.
Yes. Well, I hope you guys, when you come, please introduce yourselves. I can't wait to meet you in person.
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Toles, before I let you go, I wanted to know that, because you read some stuff, it seems to be a lot of operational, I'm not sure if that's operational serial killers still active in the US. Do you have a number of what that may be?
Yes. So right now, from what I understand, I can't give you an official number, but I'll just tell you the FBI are likely hunting around 30 to 40, 45.
Oh, man.
Yeah, right now.
The real heyday was the 70s and 80s, though, before DNA, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
The golden era of serial killing was the 70s. The peak of serial killing was 1981.
Golden era.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Oh, my
the golden
God.
era. Yeah.
We could talk to you all day.
I know. You're so
Yeah,
interesting.
Well, I'm so glad to have talked to you, and please come to the show. And I can't wait to, like I said, meet you in person. And I think you will find that you're gonna learn a lot. I promise you. You're gonna leave there seeing serial killers through a whole other lens.
Oh, extraordinary. Okay, The Psychology of Serial Killers and Why They Captivate Us, hosted by Dr. Rachel Toles, who we've just been talking to, comes to the Astor Theatre Thursday, May 29. Tickets at tugdainty.com. Rachel, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been such a pleasure. I look forward to seeing you in Australia.
All right, we're going to have nightmares, but thank you.
This is the Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
Feel the fever this Suncorp Super Netball season and join the Green Army. Get your West Coast Fever tickets at Ticketek now.
West Coast Fever taking on the Sunshine Coast Lightning this Saturday at RAC Arena. Janelle Fowler-Nemart is back in goal shooter, and they chalked up a win last weekend, so we're on a roll.
Well, as we know, Nat's going to be there at the game in a box, including pre-game hospitality, courtside drinks. And we want you to join her.
Yes, that's right. I need some friends in my box.
Yeah, that's right. 2 box tickets up for grabs for today. And here's how it works. 2 callers are going to go head-to-head, meet them in a second. Best of 7, we're going to roll our giant box, which is a dice. Questions are assigned to each number. However, if the same number comes up again, it's the same question. So
That's right.
It's a gimme, if you remember.
Okay, so let's meet our contestants. We've got Anita from Lathlane. Good morning, Anita.
Morning, Anita.
Morning, Nat.
Are you a netty girl from way back, Anita?
Oh, when I was very little in my Langford days, yes, I was.
In your Langford days.
Nice.
The glorious Langford days. Beautiful. What position did you play, Anita?
Usually like a goal shooter or something. In attack, something like that.
Yeah,
not defense.
yeah,
I'm
that's
too
right.
short.
Okay. Yeah, no, I hear you. You're up against Corinna from Ellenbrook. Good morning, Corinna.
Morning.
Good morning.
Now, netball, been in your sporting heritage?
Yes. Love netball. Played Country Victoria, so go Wedderburn Redback.
And what position did you play with the Redbacks?
I was goal attack, goal shooter, and a bit of defence as well.
Loved the glory, obviously.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
love it.
Now we're going to start rolling our dice shortly. Let's test your buzzers first, though. Anita? Corinna? They're working. Oh, it's rolling time. To kick it off, we have rolled up number 1. Ross, do you want to ask question number 1?
What music group had a hit with no scrubs?
Corinna. TLC.
Corinna's on the board, everybody.
There we go.
All right, what have we rolled up now? We have rolled up a 5. Okay, question number 5. What's the name of the movie where Lindsay Lohan swaps bodies with her mum?
All right.
No one. The answer was Freaky Friday.
All right, remember
No
that. if it
point
comes
there.
up Again. Rolled again. We've rolled up number 5. Let me go with this. What's the name of the movie where Lindsay Lohan swaps bodies with her mum? Were you listening?
Corinna?
Freaky Friday.
Yeah, how did you know that, Corinna? Well done.
Amazing.
We've rolled up number 6. In which month is International Women's Day celebrated? Anita?
March?
Yes, Anita's on the board, everybody. Score check. Corinna 2, Anita 1.
All right, rolled up number 2. Question number 2. Which fashion item is usually worn on your head and often seen at the...
Corinna?
Hat.
Well, I'll finish the question. On your head and often seen at the races starting with F.
Well, it's already been answered, so we can't take a point. The answer is Fascinator.
Fascinator.
All right, so for question number 2, what have we rolled up next? We've rolled up number 4. Which character from The Wizard of Oz wanted a brain? Corinna?
The lion.
No, it was not. It was the Scarecrow. All right, keep rolling there, Amy. What have we got? We've got number 2.
Which fashion item is usually worn on your head and often...
Anita.
Anita?
Fascinator.
Yes,
There we
Anita, you've
go.
tied it up. It's 2-2. This is a tight match. Okay,
Nice.
number 6. In which month is International Women's Day celebrated? Anita?
March.
Yes, it is still March. Well done. Anita has taken the lead and is on the brink of victory.
One away from the win, Anita. All right,
Question,
what number?
we've rolled up a 1.
Which music group had a hit with no...
Corinna, to tie it up.
TLC.
Yes, it's all tied. It comes down to this one.
Let's go.
We have rolled up one that hasn't been asked yet. Number 3. Which Australian animal has the nickname Skippy?
Anita.
Anita for the win.
Kangaroo.
Yes, she's done it, Anita. All right.
was
Anita, you're going to
exciting.
be
Well done,
reliving your glorious Langford days at the netball with me. You're going to be joining me in the box. 2 box tickets to watch West Coast Fever take on Sunshine Coast Lightning. It's this Saturday with me. There is pre-game hospitality and courtside drinks available. I will see you there, Anita.
I cannot wait, Nat. Thank you so much.
It's going to be awesome. If you want to go along, it'll be a big crowd. Tickets via Ticketek, or we've got more box tickets to give away tomorrow.
It's the Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
Special guest has arrived. The voice of a generation, star of Sister Act the musical, Casey Donovan.
Good morning. Thank you so much.
How are you, Case?
I'm very, very well, thank you. It's great to be back in Perth.
I know.
Yeah.
This is a great show. It's up and about, isn't it? Great
It is
music.
very much. Great music. Alan Menken, you can't fault it. It's such a great, fun, uplifting, joyful musical, and playing Dolores Van Cartier has been an absolute dream, and I'm just excited to bring it to Perth and finish hard and strong.
Sister Act, obviously, you dress. We're talking about you having to dress as a nun, and have you had a situation where you dress as a nun, but you're not in doing your
the
job?
show.
Yeah.
Look, we do lots of media for the show, so I've been out the front of churches in Adelaide. I've walked through the halls of the Crown here on Anzac Day and did a little spread in front of a bar, and there were patrons going, "Should nuns be in a bar?" And we're like, oh, bless you, bless you.
I mean, body of Christ, right, Sean?
Amen. I say straight away, Natalie.
Exactly.
Hey, Case, this movie came out in 1992, like so long ago, but it just keeps giving, Sister Act. But you talked about the music just a second ago. So it's been redone or remodeled a little bit?
It has. So Alan Menken has penned all of the music along with the lyricist Glenn Slater, and they've made this beautiful, fabulous disco 70s music which kind of projects the show in storytelling, and that's what a musical does. And I know a lot of people come to the show and like, but it's not the songs from the movie, and we're like, we know they're better. You know, we've got songs like Bless Our Show, we've got Dolores's opening number, Fabulous Baby. You get these beautiful intonations of disco and ballad that all meet together and project the story, and musicals are about telling stories, and as we like to do, we break out into song. So yeah, Alan Menken's music is certainly singing its way through the show, but it's a story we know and love. Dolores, you know, sees her mob boyfriend murder someone, and then she gets put into a convent, and she's got to deal with, you know, not eating, and they eat mutton. And Dolores is like, mutton. What the hell is mutton?
Old sheep.
Old sheep.
Old sheep.
You have really reinvented yourself as a musical theatre star, haven't you?
I
mean, we all knew and fell in love with you, on Idol, and then. But I saw you in Anne Juliet when you played the nurse, and you were so good in that role.
Thank you.
So good. Are you loving musical theatre? Is this where you want to be for a long time now?
Look, I do love musical theatre, and it's just been such a great achievement in life to kind of open new doors and step into new characters. And playing a role like Angelique was such a fun role to be in, a show that, you know, had so many positive points about life and where we are in today's world, and kind of
joy. That was a joyous show,
and it was just full of hope and love. And I've loved stepping into musical theatre and playing different characters and learning from amazing people. You know, I play alongside Rhonda Birchmore and Genevieve Lemon, who are just strong, witty, funny, professional women that just stand in their power, and I love that I get to learn from them day after day.
So what's the difference for you doing musical theatre? Because it's very different to just being a singer, isn't
very
it?
different. Pulling on a character and then just stepping out as me. You know, Casey can stumble and fall and, you know, make crass jokes and, you know, kind of break the fourth wall whenever she wants.
Yes.
But when you're playing a character, you're standing and, you know, you've got a responsibility to, you know, everyone's kind of, you're literally just catching hot potatoes everywhere because, you know, there's lots of moving parts and missing a line can sometimes miss a lighting cue, and that's kind of like a domino effect. So there's a lot of responsibility when playing characters, but it's also about having fun and just enjoying yourself. And I find that really hard. I was just saying to our publicist on the car on the way here, I'm like, I'm finally having fun. It's the last 4 weeks and, you know, you kind of, when you're coming to the end of a run, it's like all of the work we've been doing for the last 8-9 months has, you know, come to a head now, and we're all just...
And it's muscle memory now.
Enjoying myself,
right,
and I'm like, oh wow, why couldn't I do this in Sydney? But look, it's great to be finishing up in Perth, and I cannot, you know, suggest or recommend highly enough to get your tickets and come on down.
Well, you sell it perfectly, mate, because you can hear the passion in your voice talking about it, which is fantastic in its own right. I want to know because you know it's night after night, and I guess you're recovering all the time as well. But do you get to do anything in your downtime when you're in various cities, or is it just really concentrating on what's going on?
Look, it's a bit of both. It's a double-edged sword because at the moment I'm vocally and physically tired, and you can hear it in my voice, and I'm like, how do I keep peppy? But you know, we are elite athletes. We're doing this 8 times a week, and you know, there's special things that we have to do, like vocal warm-ups and keeping ourselves healthy to get on stage and do that thing. We're doing the same thing each night, and you know, when you look at rugby players or AFL players, you know, you get hit in different parts of your body, and you know, you get to work on different parts. But when you're doing musical theatre, you're doing the same exercise, the same, picking up the same pen, bending at the same thing. You know, there's a part where I get down on stage and my knee goes crack every night on cue. But, you know, it's all about looking after your body and, you know, going and doing your physical therapies and, you know, keeping that maintenance up and, resting when you can. And I think a lot of people forget that musical theatre people are human people.
What?
And, I know. And, you know, we get fatigued and, you know, I have to have nights off sometimes where, you know, I'm just physically exhausted. And I get people texting me going, I've spent all this money to come and see you. And I was like, I'm so sorry. We can't actually let you know when we're not on stage. Like, you know,
and also if I had performed tonight, you would have been disappointed because I couldn't deliver on it.
Well, I would have been disappointed in myself. You know, it's that thing where I sit at home and I have panic attacks, having to call in and have a night off because I'm like, I'm letting people down, but I'm also like, well, if I don't listen to my body, me having one night off means if I don't take that, I've got to take a week off.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
and it should be noted, the alternates in all of these shows are unbelievable performers.
Lifesavers. Unbelievable performers. And that's the thing in musical theatre world is we support each other. And when our understudies get to go on, that is their moment and that is their character. And there's this big thing in theatre world where it's like, that's my character. My Dolores Van Cartier is, when I'm on for her, that's what I get to do. But when someone else gets to put on her dress and her disco shoes, it's a beautiful thing, and it's that support and that you know, supporting our peers and celebrating them, and I think that's really important.
You're incredibly
that's great.
Passionate about it all. We were talking about off air your vocal warm-up.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to? Because I imagine it'd be very specific for maybe each person. Would you be willing to share a vocal warm-up?
Look, they're never pretty, and I always say, you know, I wish I played an instrument because you could play it quietly unless you're a horn in the horn section, which I feel like I am some days. But I don't, look, there's certain things. So I used to do lip trills like but that's no longer helpful for my role in this show.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of ebbs and flows and changes.
Depending on the role.
Yeah, because you're using different parts of your muscle.
So this time you start off with a quick prayer?
Well, yes, a quick prayer, coffee and some hydration and water. But I do this thing where I stick my tongue out. It's like a tongue out TH. So you... But you don't bite on your tongue and you raise the back of your tongue so the sound is coming over the back of your tongue.
You raise the back of your tongue?
Yeah, so when you do a TH, when you go, you'll feel the sound. So if you hear is at the back of my mouth, instead of going, that's a front sound. So is it back?
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean.
I know, my ears aren't attuned to this.
No, you can feel it. You do feel it,
yeah. So you feel it. And also I do it now, I'm bringing up...
Everybody's doing it in their car right now.
Yeah. Or you do your trumpet. So a trumpet is really, really good. So...
That's fun.
Really? This
This is interesting. You were talking about as an athlete case, and you're making sense. So someone would have, you do a warm up as people do when you see them on the oval. They're doing all the various things. They have their sports science and conditioning coaches.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have someone who has taught you all this stuff beforehand?
Look, yes and no. I've just picked up things along the way. I've also got a singing coach who I use, Dane Chelflin, who's in the UK, who I got put on by someone else. We have speech pathologists, ENTs, sometimes you can't...
You get a throat massage.
Well, you also can get physical therapy, so you can actually get a vocal release, which releases all your muscles around your vocal cords, which then you cannot sing that night. It's not right because you've released all your muscles.
Yes,
it's like you take the training wheels off your bike and then you try and sing and because everything's so loose. We've got conditioning coaches as well. But they come in different forms, and it's all those little things where you can't see our vocal injuries, where you see people on the field and they've got their head strapped or their ankle.
Limping,
You can't see when you've injured your vocal cords unless you've got a scope going in to your nose or mouth.
Yes.
So it's, the importance of sharing that knowledge and letting people know that bodies get tired, but there are ways in which we can, I always get told, Casey, your 60% is as good as your 100. I was like, I don't know how to do 60%.
Yes. It's all or nothing.
It's all or nothing.
There's no jogging. It's all running.
It's all about that. It is hard work, but it is such rewarding work when you get to work and people are smiling, and we don't know what people are going through in their days.
That's right.
And it's just, we are that escapism in the music world where you just come, you watch a beautiful show, you have a great night, and you go home and go, oh, that was really good.
Sean's gone. He had a plane to catch. We'll catch up with him tomorrow when he is home from Bali. But we do have the star of Sister Act the Musical, Casey Donovan, joining us right now. sisteractthemusical.com.au is where you can get your tickets. It's playing Crown Theatre until May 25th, limited season, and this is it.
This is it.
This is the last little stint of it.
This is the button, as we like to call it.
Just do it. Yeah, that's great.
And we're just talking off air because I asked more about these throat massages.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you were saying they grab your tongue.
Yeah.
They put their thumb in your mouth.
Yeah.
They hit the neck with the...
There's a lot of muscles and things in there that we use. So when you're singing and dancing and doing all these things, you're using every muscle and bone
your
in your
equivalent
body.
of hip flexors, really,
Literally,
isn't it?
yeah. So, you're doing all these things and hinging, and you do jaw release, tongue release, throat release, chest release, all your muscles in your chest and your pecs. I've got to stretch out my chest, so I'd lay on a rollie for a good 5 minutes and just stretch everything out to open everything.
So that's to get lung capacity, so you can really belt out the big notes.
Always.
And you're saying throat massage is not pleasurable?
No,
At what point did you start doing all of this stuff? Because obviously you wouldn't have been doing this when you were a kid.
No, because other people said, hey, have you had a vocal release? I was like, what is that? And then you go and get one.
About?
Oh my gosh, this changed my life.
Yeah. So did you, when the first time you had it, did you notice a noticeable difference in the way that you could really?
Yeah, it was just, it's amazing how much tension you hold in your body.
Yes.
And when it gets released, you're like, oh, that's what they mean by if you just breathe this way, it'll do this thing.
Yes.
But when you're living life, stressed, but it is literally like taking the training wheels off and just going, oh my gosh, I forgot how to ride a bike.
Now, speaking of riding a bike, you just told us that this is how you're getting around. Perth, basically, is on an e-bike. Is that right?
I'm one of those people on an e-bike, but I love it.
Don't say one of those people, because I've got an e-bike too.
I just love it.
It's so because I live on a hill, and so that last little stretch on the way home, it's like, I don't even feel it.
No.
And you're only on level 1, right? So you do. It's mainly you.
It's mainly me.
Just a little bit of e-bike.
Just a little bit of e-bike. I still like to ride a bike. It's like I still drive a manual car because I still like to drive a car until the day they're like, they drive themselves, and like, well, okay. I'm just a passenger. Me and my fiance ride to work, and it's a really nice way to also see Perth.
Yes,
it's very beautiful. You've got the river and the lakes,
and because Crown's right there on the river, it is actually a really beautiful way to do it.
Apart from I got caught in the footy crowd the other night.
Oh yeah,
I was like, oh gosh, I forgot. I thought the game was still going. I was like, excuse me, bing bing bing
none
bing
coming through.
No, I actually had to turn the power off and just kind of stable platform. But look, it was great, and it's always lovely to see a lot of people getting out there and enjoying the world, and I love that.
Just don't get in your way when you're on your e-bike, please.
Yeah, look, it was a bit tricky. I was using my core, but we got there in the end.
ducking and weaving through the crowd. Well, thank you so much for coming in today. It's been an absolute joy. And as Sean said before he scooted off, he said, it is just great to see somebody like you speaking with such passion about what they do. It is clear that you're in a great phase of your career. You're very successful. You're very good at what you do, but you're also loving it.
I love it. And, what is it? I don't even know what the saying is.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what I...
Love what you do and you never work a day in your life.
There you go.
Yeah, clearly.
Still early for me.
Yeah. Yeah, we're finishing work. Go and see Casey and Sister Act the musical. Tickets from sisteractthemusical.com.au, and it's a limited season. It must end on May 25th. Check it out. Thank you, Casey.
Thank you, Casey.
This is the Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
Me and Ross, basically, at this point. Everybody else gone for the day. Tomorrow on the show, this is great. Olympic gold medalist Naomi Fox.
That she got a, was it kayak something?
Yes, it was the kayak one where they started by kayaking off the roof.
What? They come off a roof?
It kind of looks like a roof.
Like a big jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, they drop in, and then it was that one.
Do you reckon
kayak cross, I think it was called.
Will she bring the gold in? Because that's exciting.
I mean, she's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We love those sisters are incredibly talented. It's so good. Jordan Clark from the Fremantle Dockers is going to join us.
Well done.
He played well. He played well on the weekend. Yeah, there's some great footage going around of him running down the Adelaide Crows player who is in the clear and basically about to kick a goal, and he comes from nowhere. He is so fast.
Yep.
Jordy Clark
just
so
dominates
fast.
it. I did try and watch that game, but the 5 and 2-year-old was screaming at me. It's not possible to really watch those awesome moments.
They're really
they get in the way.
ruining your life, aren't they?
They get in the way of life, don't they?
We'll catch up with Pav as well.
Yeah, nice.
Nice one. Plus, $1,000 to be won with Pet Tales. We'll give you another category. Today's was animals that dug a hole.
Which, again, sounds boring, but the calls were amazing. There was a murderous rabbit in there.
That's right.
And a dog that ruined... Just listen to the podcast.
Yeah, it's pretty good. The podcast is also a great place to catch up with the clinical psychologist that we caught up with, who she is coming to town to present a show on serial killers. We checked the ticket sales. It's selling fast. So if you want to get on board with that, have a listen to our chat with her. She's so interesting, and we legit could have talked to her for an hour.
Absolutely, yeah. She was great. Really dark minds out there will want to listen to this, and we'd learned that's a lot of us, and you think I am.
Yeah, because you are overtly nice, and it's suspicious. And actually, you know who else is?
Sam
Trusso.
Morning, fellow serial killer.
I was going to ask that and go through the checklist with you. I was sitting in the car and thinking, do I have those qualifications? Could it be me?
Qualifications.
Yeah, qualifications.
Have I done the hard work?
Is it on your CV? What is it?
Does my resume stack up?
Nathan, Nat and Sean is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au. Nova.